Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 47 of the Whips and Whimsy podcast. My name is Zenith. My pronouns are they, them. I am so happy you are joining me here today. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about all the things I have been crafting on lately and what I've been reading. So mostly 90% of what I'll talk about today is going to be knitting. I do have some spinning and a book to talk about as well. If that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, settle on in. It's going to be kind of a full episode. So make sure that you have a drink, a craft, a snack. We'll just cozy on down for a little bit. So yeah. Today is Saturday, April 25th. It is Independent Bookstore Day here in the United States. I am very excited because this afternoon I will be going to my local bookstore to celebrate. If you are seeing this day of and you are also in the United States, go check out your indie bookstore. Go see what they've got going on today. They probably have some good sales, some good snacks, whatever. It's going to be a party in the store, so let's do it. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump on in. In today's episode, I have 2 finished objects. Well, technically 4, but I'm counting 3 of them as one project. I have 4 works in progress. I don't know why I'm holding my hand here. 4 works in progress. I have spinning to show. I don't know if I already said that. I think I might have just said that. And I also, like I said, I finished a book. I'll talk about that. And yeah, today I am hydrating with coffee from the patron saint of Boston, Duncan. I got the banana flavor for the first time. I've been very hesitant to get it, which is silly because artificial banana is like my favorite artificial flavor. Like, you know you're an American one. But it's delicious. I love this. It is so aggressively banana. It tastes like runts. And I love runts. I don't know why. I don't know. This is my new favorite dunks is the banana one. For some reason I've been afraid of it. Anyway, moving on. Let's go into finished objects. So first things first, I forgot. I'll show you in a second. The Boston Marathon was on Monday. I love watching the Boston Marathon because I'm not from here and I get to be a tourist about it. So every single one of my local friends is like, whatever, it's blocking traffic, and I get up to start, at the start of the race I have the TV on and I'm like, let's go, I'm gonna watch other people run a marathon and I'm gonna have a great time. So during the course of the marathon I made tiny pigs. We have a pig parade today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy. These are indeed scraps from my whatever sweater that I recently made, and I had some leftovers. This one has a little tongue sticking out. I did not mean to do that. It just kind of escaped me, and now because of where it's situated and its length, I'm not sure if I can get that woven back in. So it's just being a little sassy. But yes, these are all Sorella yarns, and these came from the sleeves of my sweater. I have some more scraps left, but after making 3 piggies, the race was over. And the newscaster, the normal people who run the race were still running, but the newscasters were making it sound like they were going to move to the normal, regularly scheduled stuff for that TV channel, which I don't care about. I just wanted to watch people run real fast. And then on top of that, we were getting, we got our kitchen wallpapered, and they were actively working on that. I, of course, have respiratory problems. Quite a few respiratory problems, and was like, I don't feel like breathing in chemicals or whatever is behind that wallpaper that's been there for 30 years. I need to get out of this open floor space and down into my room. So I was like, three piggies is enough. But yeah, those are my 3 piggies. I also worked on spinning during the marathon, but I will show that towards the end of the episode so that people who do not care about spinning don't have to watch. Anyway, so that was my first finished object. It's my 3 little piggies. That is, I should say, that is the Chichester the Pig pattern by, I think it's Helen Apocalypse. It's a very old pattern. It's for free. You can just Google Chichester the Pig. Actually, no, I'll put the link below. I never say this. We are on such a tangent today. I never say this, but I always put links to my Ravelry and my Instagram down below. And then sometimes, but not always, I will link individual patterns. It's just annoying for me to do that. So sometimes I'm like, yes, I have like all of my current patterns saved as one. And then what happens is I copy the whole thing over and I delete as I go. So it's just the relevant patterns. And it's a little bit annoying. So I don't always do it. But yeah, Chichester the pig is not a hard one to share. And if I share that, I will also share the pattern for the chili peppers in the background. Because they're in the same spot. So it makes sense. Anyway, we're buckling in. We're locking in today. My next finished object is this pair of socks. These are the Trompe-l'Monde socks from Summer Lee from the Sock Project book. I've been knitting one pattern from that book a month, and I'm having a really great time. I love this pattern. I'm thinking possibly about making a second pair of these for a friend of mine who doesn't watch the channel but does have links to watch this channel. So there's that. But I'm thinking about doing a pair with these two colors as a gift. Or I might do the beatnik socks. So I haven't decided yet. It depends. This is going to be the socks I'll make starting next Friday. So we'll see what kind of mood I'm in on Friday is probably what will decide it. But we'll see. Yeah. Oh yeah, I should say, I cast on 56 stitches for these. I changed the cuff. She calls for a 2x1 rib, and I just did 1x1 half twisted because that's the rib that's speaking to me lately. So I went with that. I did, I forget how many rounds I did. Hold on. I did 36 rows is what I ended up doing for the leg portion. I keep wanting to call it the cuff. This is not the cuff. This is the cuff. But yeah, and then once I got to the heel, I just dropped the pattern and moved forward. I think the socks would have been just slightly too tight if I had done it all the way down. They are a little bit snug on the leg. I'm not mad about it. It's not to the point where I'm like, this doesn't fit or whatever, but it's like, I am never going to have to worry about these socks falling down, which is great because some of my other socks, I do have that problem. So, yeah. I think that's all I have to say about these. I love them. Oh yeah, the colors. I used 2 different colors of stroll. The contrast color I used, which if you follow the full pattern, this would be your main color. But because I stopped halfway through, this was the contrast color. That was Key Lime Heather. And then the main color I used was Everglade. So I love them. And if you've watched for a while, you know Key Lime Heather is like my favorite yarn color ever to exist. So I used like half. I didn't weigh it, but I used like half of the mini skein of Key Lime Heather, which made me super happy because that yarn is discontinued and I'm kind of like, as much as I can, rationing it because I know like I could never get more of it. So anyway, let's have a little hydration break. And we're back. Let's talk about works in progress. In the bug bag, which came from Dye With Your Boots On and Glows in the Dark. Also, this shirt came from Dye With Your Boots On as well. I don't know if you can read it because it is upside down, but it says support your local cemetery. And I love this shirt. Also, I just miss wearing t-shirts. I haven't gotten to wear t-shirts. It's been too cold for literally months. So this is really lovely. Anyway, I have a conundrum here. The first thing I want to show is my little tiny boomerang shawl that I impulse cast on. There's not a whole lot of work done on it. Last week we were at the Starfish and now we are here. I knit this while we were watching Shrinking because my roommate's boyfriend was in town. We watched shows together. So I've waited like a month to finish watching Shrinking. So we are all caught up on that now and I have this much done. I think this shawl is going to go back into hibernation. For one, I don't love the color and there's going to be the green is going to look a lot better when it's next to all the colors that aren't yellow, which means I have to go through all of the yellow to see it look better. And that's a lot. And I have other things going on, and I think I'm just gonna put it in my pile. I'm using size 6 needles for that, and the two colors that I'm using are La Bien-Aimée Shire, that's the green color, and the main color is a gradient. Let me see if I can show you the whole thing. The gradient is Stroll Gradient in the color Dragon's Breath. So it's gonna look really cool when it's done. It just doesn't look cool yet. So there's that. So yeah, that's my shawl. I don't know the next time you'll see it. I probably will not work on it for a really hot minute. Adore the bag while you can. The next one I want to talk about is my Rad Vent, which is my next large 12 Days of Cast-Ons project. I talked last episode about trying to do 2 of the mini skeins a week. That was a mistake on my part, and here's why. I had just finished the Whatever sweater. In the Whatever sweater, you're holding the yarn double, even though it's fingering weight, to make a DK weight yarn. And so with that one, it's very easy to do multiple mini skeins a week. The Rad Vent, I think I just forgot this. Like, it was just very convenient for me, but you don't hold the yarn double, and that's a different ballgame. So in a week, I did a good amount of work, but I only got through one of the colors. And if you've seen pictures of that pattern, if you're familiar with it, this is not how the stripes look in the sweater, because I'm going rogue, because of course I am. I have, first of all, it calls for 25 colors. I have 21 colors. It calls for using less than the full amount of the skein. I'm going to use all of the skein. And we're just going to see what happens, basically. But yeah, so I am part of the way through the sleeve. I am on the second color, like literally like 2 rows into it. So what the heck is happening? This is my second color out of 22. And then this color is Contrast. This is the color Nymph from Knit Picks Hawthorne. And then yeah, the rest of this is an Advent. So right now I've made good progress. But that makes way more sense. I've made good progress, and it's going to stretch out when it's blocked. But yeah, I think maybe 1 a week is a good goal, or just doing the thing where I finish a pair of socks and work on this. However, I may also put this into hibernation, because I'm going to show you a different project. We're doing a segue. So we're going to segue into my third project I'm going to show. You've seen this one before, but not for a while. This blanket is ruining my life. So the last time you saw it, last time I showed it on the show, we were at the jellyfish. This pumpkin pie piece is where I was a week ago, and I have worked on it for 45 minutes to an hour every day this week, and I've gotten this far. So I am already 4 balls into this blanket, and we are only halfway through, maybe. And I am losing my mind. I'm losing my mind because I started this year with a clear goal of making baby blankets for donation, and I had ordered yarn specifically for that. And it's in a giant box over to the side that you can't see, but it is literally like knee height box of like just worsted weight yarn for donation. And my goal was to complete like 1 baby blanket a month, and I knew that was like a reasonable-ish goal. And maybe it would be more like 6 weeks in 1 month, but like it's gonna be something that'll be done, like in a relatively short amount of time if I worked on it consistently every day. The first one went off the rails because 30 minutes was not enough time, and I realized that pretty quickly and was like, I can pivot and do an hour, like that's not a big deal. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, smooth sailing. And then I ended up making this blanket for someone that I'm not necessarily friends with, but someone that I see regularly. So it's more of like a parasocial gift than like a friend gift. And like, this is not for someone that I hang out with. Like, this is for just somebody in my life. And it's taken me a million years, and it's gorgeous, and I made it like extra gorgeous on purpose, but I'm also like, this is taking me forever. This is taking me forever. Like, in an hour I'm getting 4 rows done. It's driving me nuts. I'm so over it. It has to be done by the end of May. But I am now like multiple months behind on the project that I was supposed to be doing, which is making things for donation. This is not a donation. It's taking a million years. I still have half of it left to do. And also I had to order extra yarn for this. And I'm not having a time. If you couldn't tell, I'm not having a time. I enjoy the making of it. I enjoy settling into my chair and playing the podcast, because I listen to the Gone Medieval podcast as I work on this blanket. I enjoy that. I enjoy the way the pattern looks. It's taking so much time and effort that I was not planning to do. And also I'm just really annoyed because I know that if this was a corner to corner blanket, it would be done. It would already be done if this was garter stitch. And it's just, the knit stitch just takes me a million years because I knit Portuguese style. If you are a newer person to the channel, I have this little necklace here that holds the tension of the yarn. So when I knit, I take the yarn and I hook it and I hold the tension with my ring finger, and then I just flick with my thumb. And that's how I knit, which makes it very easy to purl, but it makes knitting a lot slower. And so every knit stitch just takes like so much time. Anyway, so all of this to say, for my own mental health, I need this to be done. And I may put all my other projects on hold, finish my pair of socks for the week, and then just work on this continuously until it's freaking done. Because I need it off my needles. Like, I need to move on to another project. It's stressing me out. I have already, I think, accepted that I will not have the 12 blankets that I plan to have done for donation done this year. But I would still, like, I only have one done for donation, and we're 4 months into 2026. Like, I'm not having a great time. So this has to get done. I need it to be done. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I will still listen to my Gone Medieval podcast and do that every day. But I think I'm going to maybe spend some time binge watching Expedition Unknown and working on that blanket until it is done. Because I'm not having a time. So there's that. The last finished object, of course, in my mermaid bag that my friend Kaylee made me is my pair of socks for the week. I started these yesterday because Friday is cast on day for me, as any longtime viewer would know. And I am working on a Tiny Human Knits sock this week. This is the color Scrappy Quilt. I got I believe the 50-gram skein or set. I love these. I am partially through the gusset. I should have been, my original plan was to be through the gusset, but my roommate was like, hey, we have 4 episodes of The Rookie saved. And I was like, okay, let's watch those. When I originally had been planning to like hang out in my room and just watch Expedition Unknown. And because we were watching The Rookie, the episodes were really good. And I kept just like, I would literally just hold my yarn and just be like watching the screen. And there would be no movement of the needles. The needles would just be in place, in position. And I was just like, for a really long time. So I got like 6 rows done, I think. I got 7 rows done in a span of like 2.5, 3 hours. Yay. So yeah, lesson learned. I will work on this more today when I am not reading or going to the bookstore. But yeah, I'm using my basic vanilla pattern for this. I use size 1.5 flexi flips. That's also what I use for the Trompe le Monde. my needles are just a size 1.5. So I didn't do that on purpose. I actually bought them thinking they were size 1, and then I found out like a year and a half later that they weren't. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Anyway, I do 10 rounds of 1x1 half twisted rib for the cuff, 30 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel, and now I'm in the gusset. And when that's done, I'll put a square toe on it, and that's my vanilla pattern. So, yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. I'm loving it. One of my goals for the year is to finish knitting all of my Tiny Human Knits yarn, because she has not been shipping to the US, and I was like, there's no reason to have a stash of this. Like, let me just use them all. But I did see she posted on Instagram recently that she might start shipping to the US again. And now I have mixed feelings, because I'm like, I'm kind of locked in on not having any Tiny Human Knits in my stash. And she's like, well, I might reopen it. And I'm like, but I don't need yarn, and I like to support you. And if you reopen shipping to the US and then the Americans don't buy your stuff, where does that leave you? I feel pressured. So now I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Anyway, that leaves us to our next thing. That's all my works in progress. Let's talk about spinning. So I did some chaotic spinning stuff. So here's what I have of what I've been spinning. This is a chopstick. So I was spinning. I have a new to me spinning thing. This is a distaff. It's a replica of an ancient Roman style distaff for hand spinning. And it has a little bird on top, and the bird looks like it's sitting in a nest, and that makes me really happy. It's so freaking cute. There's a learning curve. I used this for the first time during the Boston Marathon. My original plan was to do like an hour of spinning. The amount of fiber that I had on here at the time was only like 30 minutes worth of spinning. I was like, oh darn, I have to knit tiny pigs now. And then the next day I was like, I really miss spinning, and I did more spinning. There's definitely a learning curve attached to using a hand distaff that I was not prepared for. So I'm a little bit not having a good time with my spinning right now, because I'm running into an issue where I feel like I don't know how to hold the yarn, like I have trouble drafting the fiber out while also holding the distaff. And I'm gonna figure it out, but for the moment I'm not having a great time, because the spin keeps twisting up into the fiber, which makes it really difficult to draft. So that's my first problem. The second problem is that, so I'll have like a whole piece like this, and I'm finding that, this is only 1/4 of the full braid. Like if I took the full braid apart and then split it in half and then split it again, that's what this is. And this is not that thick, but it keeps, like, the spin only keeps going up like part of the fiber and not the other part of the fiber. And I'm just really, I'm sitting on the struggle bus with trying to keep everything even, because what ends up happening is like I'm spinning and everything is fine, and then it's pulling on just one part of the fiber, and the rest of the fiber is like just sitting there on the distaff, and like part of it's just not having a great time. The other thing is, I think when I originally wound the fiber onto the distaff, I was doing it the correct direction. But because I was running into those issues, I thought maybe I have it loaded onto the distaff the wrong direction. So when I reloaded my distaff, I did it the opposite direction, and I think that was clearly the wrong way, because now I'm having more problems than I did before. So I'm not having a great time. The other thing is, I at the time had more fiber on my spindle, and it wasn't completely full, but I noticed that there was a very distinct difference between what I had been spinning before and what I was spinning with the distaff. And I was not thinking about the issue with the distaff itself. I was like, I think the spindle is getting a little bit heavy, and that my yarn is coming out thicker than I want it to be. So I was like, let me unwind everything that's on my spindle onto something else. So I picked a chopstick because I don't really have any bobbins. I only do hand spinning. And of course, immediately after I did this, I was like, I have a ball winder, and I could have wound this into like its own center pole ball, which would be easier for plying. But here we are. And then I kept spinning and then immediately realized the problem was not the weight of the spindle. The problem was absolutely like the learning curve with the distaff. So I'm going to keep working with this. I'm really enjoying spinning again. I feel like I sound very frustrated. And like, I'm frustrated because I'm used to things being easy for me. No, I'm just spoiled in that way. And so I'm a little bit annoyed. And I'm also annoyed because when I went back to spinning this year after like a 5-year hiatus, there was like I did not have a learning curve. Like I picked up where I left off, even though I hadn't touched my spinning in multiple years. And now I'm experiencing the problems and I'm like, why? Why? And I really miss what I used to do back in the day. We're going on so many tangents, but rock with me. We're only at 26 minutes, so there's that. What I used to do back in the day was I would order my fiber from the woolery, and when they send fiber, they send it in a plastic bag with like 2 little twine handles. And what I would do is I would leave the fiber in the bag, and I would just loop the bag on my arm, and I would feed from the bag, and that has always worked really well for me. Like, I don't even have to split the fiber. Like, that is something new that I have learned, like, this year, is that people usually split their fiber, and then they do, like, fractals and stuff like that, and I was like, that's wild. I got rid of all my woolery bags, and I haven't ordered any wool from the woolery. I don't need any wool from the woolery. And now I don't have a bag to put my fiber in. And without that bag to hold my fiber, it makes it just very difficult to do hand spinning, because it's very difficult for me to like hold the fiber in such a way that it doesn't get caught on the spindle. And then it also simultaneously, I thought the distaff was going to fix it. The distaff is fixing that specific problem, but it's creating more problems on its own because I'm just somewhere in the learning curve. I don't know where I am in the learning curve. And I'm just, God. I will say my classes are winding down pretty soon. We'll talk about that more at the end of the episode. But as my classes wind down and I have more free time for the summer, I will be focusing on spinning more. I said last week that the Boston Marathon was kind of like my warm-up for Tour de Fleece, but I think I'm gonna start spinning every day now. I'm really enjoying that. I'm also on a huge rabbit hole right now about just like medieval life and like medieval stuff, which is probably what happens when you listen to like an hour of like medieval podcasts every single day, 7 days a week, like that. Unsurprising, but spinning has always kind of like put me in touch with medieval life, Viking life. I got into spinning because I was a Viking reenactor at a Ren fair for a while. So, and that feels really good. It just feels really good to kind of like feel in touch with what humans were doing 1,000 years ago. So, I'm really enjoying that. It's just like kind of grounding and methodic and nice. So, I'm going to keep spinning. But right now I'm kind of in the weeds with the distaff. So if anyone has used this type of distaff and you have tips for me, please tell me the cheat code, because I'm not having a great time. I'm having a mediocre time. Anyway, that brings us into reading. I only have a little bit of things to share. I finished 2 books this week. I'm only going to talk about one of them. This is The Lost Library by Rebecca Stead and Wendy Mass. And it was so cute. So cute. It's about, it is 3 different characters. And it is this really, really cute story about a local library in like this small town that had burned down like 20 years ago. And then they never rebuild it. And it's under like mysterious circumstances. And then there's a woman who, the assistant librarian, is like living in the historical center, and she puts out the last books to survive from the library and makes a little free library out of them. And there's a cat who is guarding the library, and there's a little boy who gets 2 books from the little library, and one of them is the name of a very, very famous mystery writer, and another one was his dad's favorite book as a child. So Um, and it goes, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but it's one part ghost story, one part mystery, one part, one part kind of like the lit fic that makes you feel like really warm feelings, like Elizabeth Berg style. And it was very cute. I almost cried at the end. And it was just so good and so cute. And the cat, there's a cat who narrates part of the story, and he is the cutest. His name is Mortimer. I love him. Anyway, it was a really good book. I feel like I'm not explaining it very well. It was a very good book. It was very cute. And I love it. And I got this at one of the local bookstores near to me. There are so many bookstores near me now. I just heard this week that there is another one. There's like a secret bookstore near me, which is crazy. So Independent Bookstore Day is today. I'm going back to the bookstore that I got this at. I've decided it's the bookstore that I go to most often. And right now I have too many books in my room. In fact, I have a stack of like 8 books on my floor because they don't fit on my shelves. But I've decided what I'm going to do because I like supporting this specific bookstore. But she tends to carry a lot of hardcovers, and hardcover books are just out of my budget. Like, no. So I've decided what I'm going to do instead is every time I go there, I will buy one middle grade book. And after I finish that book, I will be allowed to go back to the bookstore and buy one middle grade book. Because one of my goals for the year is to read more children's books. That's on my bingo card for the year. And I have not done so far a great job of that. I mean, we still have like 8 months left of the year, so I'm not stressed about the habit of reading more children's books. But it does tie in nicely, so that's actually where I'm going this afternoon. I will buy a new middle grade book. She had a great selection when I was there earlier this week, and I did purposely finish this book so that I can go back today and buy another one. So, I don't know which one I will get yet, but I will probably show you next week. In fact, I may be done with it next week. We will see. So, yeah, that's my shenanigans. Excuse me. I thought I would also talk about kind of like lifey stuff, my classes, whatever. So, my classes for the semester are winding down. I have 2 of them that are ending early, which is a little bit surprising. We've covered all the material and we're like good to go. A couple weeks before class, I think, should officially end, but I also don't remember when class officially ends, so there's that. Enjoying having more free time. I only had to work on 1 class this week, and that was wonderful. I had so much time to just do all the things I needed to do. Just amazing. I'm very excited for summer when I don't have any classes and get to just kind of like chill for like 6 weeks. That's gonna be great. I still, at this point, still have all A's, so that's nice. I have a lot of outstanding grades, so I don't know if I will continue having all A's. My fingers are crossed that I will. I'm a little bit, I have been a little bit on the struggle bus about how to schedule my life, if that makes sense. So I'm getting a little bit better about that. I've been going back to the gym, so I went to the gym a full 5 days this week, which is crazy because I usually can't make it to the gym on Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my allergy shot days, which means I can't work out for, I think it's either 2 hours or 4 hours before getting the shot and then 2 hours after, because if you get the allergy shot, you have all these like allergens in your body, and you also work out, it like raises your heart rate and makes it more likely that you go into anaphylactic shock. That was my heater. So they tell you not to, they're like, please don't work out. Like, this could really fuck you up. So I usually don't get into the gym on Wednesdays, but I had enough free time that I could go like before that window for my allergy shot, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. So going back to the gym and working out, getting swole. And keeping a schedule and going down a huge rabbit hole about all things medieval. right now the current rabbit hole is kind of like medieval Catholicism. I just got a whole bunch of books from the library about them. I did not show them because I was like, I don't think that's relevant. Then I'm just deep diving. I started one last night though. I wish I had grabbed it now that I'm talking about it, but I got this book from the library. It was like holiness and masculinity in the Middle Ages. And it's a series of like literary papers that have been published about like the definition of masculinity within the Middle Ages, by people who work in like within the church, who like where traditional parts of masculinity are like purposely suppressed, and how that changes their identity. I'm fascinated. I've only gotten through the intro because it's very dense, as you might imagine, but I'm gonna read every single page of that book. Like, maybe I will report back, or maybe I will keep my findings to myself, but I am so excited for that. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm doing with my infinite free time, or my semi-infinite amount of free time. I do actually have to do all 3 of my classes next week, so that'll be kind of crappy. But anyway, at this point I am rambling. We are at 37 minutes. I know I'm gonna have to cut some because my lungs are mad at me, and I've been hacking up a lung. Anyway, speaking of, anyway, that is all I have for you. I hope you find some whimsy in your day. Remember, if you need something small to knit, Chichester the pig is always there for you. Oh my god, I'm just realizing I was going to show my Yankee Candle jar of pigs, and I didn't grab them, so I guess I'll have to do that the next time I make pigs. Anyway, I will talk to you next time. I hope you have a whimsical week. And yeah, okay, bye.